All right, let's talk about something I think we've all felt. That mountain of brilliant ideas you have, the ones stuck in notebooks or on your computer. We're going to break down why that happens and why maybe, just maybe, embracing a little imperfection is the secret to getting your best work out into the world. You know that feeling, right? Where you're completely stuck. You spend weeks, maybe even months, planning, researching, tweaking, but you never actually pull the trigger. You're so focused on getting it perfect that you never actually get it done. Oh, there's actually a name for this. It's called analysis paralysis. It's that exact moment where your fear of making a mistake or your hunt for the absolute perfect solution just completely outweighs the simple value of moving forward. You just freeze.
I love this quote because it's so true. It's easy to tell ourselves, oh, I'm not procrastinating. I just have high standards. But if we're being really honest, a lot of the time, perfectionism is just a shield. It's a really good sounding excuse we use to avoid the thing we're actually afraid of: judgment. So, where does that come from? Why are we so deeply afraid of what other people will think? Well, psychology actually has a really fascinating answer for this.
It's something called the spotlight effect. Think about it. You are the main character in your own life, the center of your own universe. So we naturally make the mistake of thinking we're at the center of everyone else's universe too. This puts us under this intense imaginary spotlight, making us super self-conscious.
And there's this fantastic, kind of funny experiment that shows this perfectly. Researchers got a student and had them walk into a room full of their classmates wearing what the student thought was a profoundly embarrassing Barry Manilow t-shirt.
Okay, now this is the wild part. The student was absolutely convinced that at least half the room, 50% of the people, noticed the shirt and were judging them for it. But the reality? Only about a quarter of them even noticed. The gap between what we think people see and what they actually see is huge. So the big takeaway here is that the spotlight we feel is mostly coming from inside our own heads. It's why we cringe looking at old photos or posts. Our own internal spotlight is way, way harsher than anyone else's. Truth is, most people are just busy thinking about themselves.
But that spotlight effect doesn't just come out of nowhere. It gets its power from a much deeper belief system about our own abilities. This is something the brilliant researcher Carol Dweck identified.
Okay, so you've got two basic ways of looking at ability. With a fixed mindset, you believe you're born with a certain amount of talent and that's it. You either have it or you don't. With a growth mindset, you believe you can develop your abilities through hard work. And get this, the population is split pretty evenly, about 40% in each camp.
And this table just lays it all out. If you have a fixed mindset, failure feels like a permanent verdict. It says you are not good enough. And of course, you'd be afraid of the spotlight if that's the case. But with a growth mindset, failure isn't a verdict. It's just feedback. It's a necessary step on the path to getting better.
So, a growth mindset sounds great, right? But how do you actually get there? Well, there's this amazing story from the book Art and Fear that shows us how it works in the real world.
So check this out. A ceramics teacher decides to run a little experiment. Simple setup. Divides the class right down the middle into two groups. The first group, the quantity group, was told they'd be graded just on the sheer volume of their work. 50 pounds of pots gets you an A, 40 pounds a B, and so on. It didn't matter if the pots were good, bad, or ugly, just make a ton of them.
The other group, the quality group, had a totally different task. They only needed to produce one single pot all semester. But to get an A, it had to be perfect. So they spent their time planning and theorizing about what a perfect pot would look like. So, take a guess. Who do you think made the best pots in the end? Was it the group focused on perfection or the group just focused on production?
The results were stunning. The highest quality, most beautiful, and most technically excellent pots were all made by the students in the quantity group, the ones who weren't even trying to be perfect.
And it makes so much sense when you think about it. While the quality group was stuck in their heads, paralyzed by the idea of perfection, the quantity group was busy getting their hands dirty. They were making mistakes, learning from them, and getting a little bit better with every single pot. Quality, it turns out, is a byproduct of quantity.
Okay, so this all leads us to a new, practical framework we can use to actually break out of this perfection trap for good.
It's a simple phrase, but it is so powerful. Done is better than perfect. This comes from the world of software development, where getting a working product out the door so you can get real feedback is way more valuable than chasing some mythical, flawless version that never gets released.
So how do you actually do that? Here's a simple actionable tool you can use:
a little mental model to help you get out of your own way. It's called the 70% rule. The idea is, once your project is about 70% good, it's time to ship it, put it out there. This isn't about shipping junk, it's about shipping good enough work, getting it into the world and then improving it based on real feedback, just like those pottery students.
There's a great saying, you cannot steer a parked car. You have to be moving, even if it's clumsy at first, before you can adjust your course. Action creates the data and the momentum you need to actually get better. You just can't iterate on an idea that only exists in your head.
So that really leaves us with one last question for you. What is that imperfect thing that you're going to finally start or finish today? Because a messy, real-world success is always better than a perfect fantasy that's stuck in a notebook.